you know, decision making in such a way that like we don't have.
But we are just animals like all these other animals, right? In this model, we are just another animals. We cannot claim. We cannot
we
not.
have consciences,
Okay.
and we can recognize each other in the mirror, and I can pull up a list of why we're not like any other animal. But sure.
Where did consciousness arise in this model?
I have no idea. I'm not a scientist.
This is where this model doesn't work. No.
Gave you that you have
Audrey, this is how. So far, have I quoted anything from the book? Any book?
No.
So as you can see,
But
our acceptance of a model
I think she believes in God. She's not atheist.
is actually something that we use our intellect to arrive at these conclusions. Look, at the end of the day, I'm not an anarchist, and I'm not a horrible person that I describe myself to be. I'm a Muslim, and as a Muslim, even if there was £1 million left somewhere there, I cannot and I will not take it, because I know that every single penny of that £1 million, I have to account for it in the hereafter, in the day of judgment, which didn't belong to me. Okay, this is because I believe in a creator who has gave us the sense of justice. Justice demands that the money that doesn't belong to me, I shouldn't take it myself.
Yes,
but your justice comes from where?
Society, by my other fellow human beings, by the law. I have to pay. You pay your taxes. You like, and some people don't. Some people really don't, and that's not good. Some people don't go to jail. Some people do get away with it, and that
you're basically.
Why should it come from other? So, one question, sorry. Why should it come from other human beings? When we are all equal, they're not a god over me. I'm not superior than them. They're not superior than me. Why should my justice, my way of living, should come from another human being? Why? It's a big why.
It's not a single human being. It's collective groups of.
It doesn't matter. We are all equal.
Just to add to your point, though. Just to add to your point, Audrey.
Yes.
Do you remember in the Indian subcontinent, in India, for hundreds, if not thousands of years, there was this cultural norm, not an exception, called SCDawah. SCDawah is a bride, a woman who's married, will be burnt alive when her husband dies, passes away. She'll be put into the fire. I don't know the mechanism. I don't want to go into these graphics, but she'll be burnt alive.
Yes.
A culture.
And there are many things
now,
like
this cultural norm was agreed on by the society. Now, I'm sure you agree with that, right? Because it's the society that agrees.
I did not say societies were always right.
So basically now, what we are now coming up with, so what we are now coming up with, societal laws and regulation, as the brother is saying, is something that is going to constantly change due to our whims and desires and our ideas and so on.
Yes, because as we have seen, society constantly changes and flows and goes back and forth.
That means there's no right and wrong.
It means it changes, but it means...
No, changes means there cannot be any right and wrong. SCDawah, wife burning alive, was a right thing to do. If you were not doing that yourself or your family, you'd be committing something called societal wrong.
Was wrong to do.
Yeah, societal wrong. So if you were there back then, before it's now outlawed and totally removed from our culture, if back then, if you didn't burn yourself willingly, for example, when there, you'll be considered to be committing a wrong, societal wrong. So as you're now defining, the rights and wrongs seems to be defined by the society, which can change. But the system that we are introducing to you, as you will realize, this is an introduction to our system of Islam. Society doesn't make things right and wrong. There is an absolute standard which we can use, from which we will say this is right, this is wrong. Because that only then we can say something is right, something is wrong. Otherwise, you cannot come along and say this is right, this is wrong. So the system that Islam provides, which I would like you to look into,
okay?
Sure. To look into, you will see that this goes on these standards where the Creator exists. There's another one. Yep. The Creator exists, and the Creator has created us for a purpose. He didn't just create us all mere play and jest. Created for a reason. This universe will one day come to an end, like our lives will come to an end, but that will not be the end of it. There will be judgment and accountability based on our belief and deeds, and then there will be another life, which is life either in a good place of tranquility, happiness, joy and bliss, or another place where there is misery, suffering, torture and pain. We would like you to consider, where would you like to go?
Sister, you see what happened a while ago when you go back to a Creator and you bring the conversation to where we was from before. Well, because talking about the creation, the beginning of creation of the universe, the Big Bang, and that implies that we're talking about a creator. When we talk about the three options and we turn on two of them because it didn't make no sense logically. Yes, but logically, I was just taking a logical journey with you because you're a logical lady. That it didn't make no sense logically, and you was agreeing that yes, that doesn't make no sense, turn it down. So the only one that left standing that makes sense is that there got to be something, somewhat, you can call it for the moment because it's anonymous, you don't know what, something, somewhat, an external entity that caused the Big Bang and give existence to the universe.
Okay, so let's entertain this hypothetical. We did your hypothetical of you're a corrupt human in a world with no God. Okay, there is a God. How do you know your story is correct? How do you know your book is the right one?
We can actually explore the idea of this possibility, just like we explored. Right. So if there was a God, what do we expect the nature or the attributes of this God to be? Because how do we say this God exists in the first place? This God has to be in existence eternity, with no beginning, first of all. Because if something exists now, there has to be something always. Yeah. So that creator, if we now exist, there's a creator.
I don't know that, but sure.
No. In this model, now there's a creator.
Cool.
It is now rationally conclusible, or conclude. What do you say?
Conclusive.
No, something that you can conclude. Rationally, we can conclude. You can see how my English is. Sometimes I'm stuck. We can only rationally conclude that being, God, has to be eternal.
Yes.
It cannot be a being that is began to exist at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So an eternal being. Okay. Now, if a being exists eternally, that being has to exist with maximal perfection. Would not be limited by any imperfection. Give an example to illustrate. If that being has created this universe, demonstrating this power and energy involved, that being will be all-powerful, not be limited, like I'm a limited power, I can only do certain things. No, because if a being didn't exist, there is nothing that restricts eternally that power that being, the creator has. So the power that being will have will be unlimited, absolute power. Likewise, if that being has knowledge, will not be limited, not be bound, will be unlimited, all knowledgeable.
Yes.
So if you now use this example about the will, will be the will which will be absolute as well. Will of an Almighty, which means if that being wills something be, and it will happen.
Yes.
There will be nothing restricting this feature.
My question is more, how do you know in your faith, why is yours the right one? Why that's precisely the process that we are coming to use. Cool. So now we realize if a being exists, that being must possess certain characteristics. Being the originator while not being originated. Has to be one. You cannot have more than one absolute. Why not?
Okay, let me give you an example again. If we envisage somehow there could be two absolutes of nature, what's going to happen to our universe? Is this something that we can even think about? Suppose now there are two such gods. Two such gods. For the sake of argument, I would say 5, but let's start with 2. And God number 1 and 2, to make it simple. God wants, number 1 wants me to disappear from existence right now. All-powerful God, I should be able to annihilate from existence. No. This is what God number 1 is capable of by definition, by conclusion. That if you exist eternally with all the power, then if you want to destroy something, you are capable of destroying. So God number 1 is able to destroy me from existence, right? Now, if you have another God, who says, no, I want this horrible person to live another 50 years or so.
Okay, but there are other religions who have the exact same conclusion.
No, let's understand. We are now trying to understand why there can only be one of such a being. If there were 2 beings, so God number 2 says, no, I want Mansur to be alive and well for another 100 years. What's going to happen? According to the definition, God number 2 is totally capable, totally able to keep me alive for another 100 years.
But if there were multiple gods, that situation would not, like based on your version of what a god is, that situation would not happen. They would be totally in sync, totally perfect.
No. Why?
Like it would be.
Sorry, but the possibility could occur, even if it didn't happen. Even if they agreed that they would never disagree, the logical possibility will still be there that they could disagree, which is a problem.
And can I just add one point? If there's multiple gods, if there's multiple gods, which is eternal and all powerful, and this is inevitable that day. Remember when we say the creator, then deductive thinking tells you that when you create something, you own it. You have ownership right. So now we see there's So we see the homogeneous nature. We see the homogeneous nature of the universe, the solar system, and how things moving, the order moving.
Yeah.
So if there's multiple gods, that means each god, what they created, they have ownership. They would have taken away what they have created.
Cool.
So then therefore you'd have seen.
Does that make sense though?
Yeah, because this one god, why is yours so?
No, okay. No, I want. Okay, so logically and rationally, it makes sense to be one God.
Sure.
Okay. So why is this one God? Now, the version that we are presenting to you is actually a God who is the originator without being originated, everlasting with no end, the one who is absolute, the one who is only, and the one who is unique, has to be unique, and the one who doesn't have any lineage, because he won't be one anymore, there'll be more than one, or children, or any parentage where any parents and forefathers and so on. Yeah.
For example, in Christianity, it's all 3 in 1. It's not multi. There is the Son.
Would that make sense though? 3 in 1.
No, because they are the same being as well. They're the
It's
same.
not. It's not really the same bearing. One of the things we come here in Speaker's Corner, as you realise, Audrey, we discuss this concept of Trinity, and you'll find that actually I haven't met anyone who coherently has explained rationally. They will say, look, Trinity is not something that you should use your mind for. You should stick to the book, Revelation, because it's a mystery. Mystery card displays when something is obviously irrational. So Trinity cannot be rationally explained coherently at all. Yeah. So when you said
I won't be able to win this.
no, it's not winning, Audrey. If you think if it's winning and losing, let's end the discussion here. We don't come here to win an argument. Okay? I apologize if you thought, I do apologize sincerely to you, Audrey. If you ever felt this is about winning the argument over you, I think I'm going to leave this conversation right now. Okay? Leave you time to think.
Yes.
Okay? But what I will do is, because we did not finish our conversation, that our belief is Islam.
Yes.
We are Muslims, submit and surrender to the will of one true God. And this is what we would have called you to. But as I say, I'm leaving the conversation now. I would like you to, read the Quran, the book of these Muslims, and then perhaps maybe one another day when you speak with another Muslim somewhere, continue your discussion, Audrey. Continue your discussion. Is that okay? Nice talking to you.
You should come and learn from
Thank you for talking to me. I hope you're happy in your religion. I hope your God serves you well.
I hope God guides all of us, you and me, closer and closer to the truth.
no spirit cannot be the
Take care.
creator.